Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your boy, Retro Bliss. Happy Friday to you. It's the weekend. We're getting ready to get into the weekend. All right. My granddaughter's got a party tomorrow, and I got a party tomorrow night. Man, we're going to have some fun. But before we do that, I want to welcome you to the channel, invite you to subscribe, turn on your notifications, all that fun YouTube stuff. And I want to let you guys know what's going on the channel. We do a lot of live streams, but we have a podcast called the Retro Bliss Rewind Podcast. And this Tuesday, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays. We have Eduardo Mello of Opcode Games. He has been in the news lately, retro news, because he's starting to carry some of the ports for the Atari 7800 that were discontinued in the last chance sale by Atari Age last year. And so we're really excited to see this, and we're going to talk to him about that. We're going to talk to him about a lot of the other exciting things that are going on at Opcode Games, so you don't want to miss that. Also, we have what's called the Retro Bliss Ninja Contest, and that's where we pick 4 games a month, and you guys compete for high scores. And those of you who get the high score for each individual game will get a Retro Bliss Ninja card like that with the name of the game underneath and a sticker like that in the mail. And the games for this month are Junior Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 and Defender 2 for the NES, Diner for the Intellivision, and Bagman. This is the arcade version. So the rules of the competition are that you must play the versions of the games for the consoles that are listed here, but you don't have to play them on the actual consoles. You can emulate. It doesn't matter as long as you're playing the correct version for the competition. Have your score sent to me at retroblissgaming@gmail.com by the 31st of December, or you may submit them to our Discord server, which the link is in the description for that. So if you have any questions, hit me up, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. We encourage you guys to participate. It's a lot of fun. We like the competition. And what we do is at the end of the competition, around the first of the next month, which is going to be difficult with the holiday, but it'll be around that time, we're going to show all of the all of the scores, all of the pictures, and then announce the winners at that time. So that's how we do that. All right, let's get to the game stream here. We're playing Scramble today. Yeah, I haven't played this in a while, and this is one of my favorite Atari 2600 games. So very excited to play this today. And I learned from John Champeau the technique on how to get through the buildings. Man, that was tough. I didn't know at first. I didn't know how to do it, but he explained how to do it. It's really simple. I'll try to, if I can remember, to explain how I do it as I do it. Sometimes I get distracted and I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So, all right, let's get to having some fun today. Let's see here. I want to adjust my cord. It's kind of in the way there. Okay. All right. What I do is I play on novice. And the reason why I do that is because once you get through the level and destroy, there's a bomb or something at the end. I forget what it's called, that you have to destroy at the end of each level. And then you start each level over again, but at a higher difficulty level. It continually ramps up to advanced anyway. So I like just playing on novice, starting slow. And that's actually the best way to learn this game too, I think, is to start slow and then work your way up. So before we get to playing, though, I want to recognize the chat. Chain Lightcap is in the house, first in the house today. CK's in the house, Guitar Geo, Tom Jenkins, and of course, our favorite Intellivision channel, Casey the Intellivision Gamer. He is here. What's up, fellas? Thanks for popping in. Let's have some fun. Let's do this. So I'm playing with a Hyperkin Trooper 2 for my PC, which is an ATARI style joystick, and it shoots the bombs and the missiles at the same time. But if you have this cart, you can play on your console, your 2600 console, with a Genesis control pad, and I believe B is the missile and C is the bomb. So you can shoot them separately, but I'm perfectly content with having a one button for all type situation. As you're going through, you have to hit fuel tanks along the way in order to get enough fuel to proceed. I was dead right there. Building stage, so what you have to do is you have to move all the way forward, and then as you're going down, you want to pull back. Move forward, pull back. Move forward, pull back. And up. Move forward, pull back and down. I'm gonna pause real quick. I'm gonna see what you guys might be saying. CK is asking a question about the post office. The reason being is because I'm retired postal mechanic. I don't know if I can answer your question, but you're welcome to shoot. Okay, let's go. Let's unpause. Hey, Derek's in the house. He saw Atari 2600 in the description, and he's hoping I was going to play Pac-Man again. No, not Todd Fry's version. I'm not going to say I'm never going to play it for you guys again, but not today. Okay, now things start ramping up a little bit. ships are closer than they were in the last round. So we're on normal right now. Doggone it! So you have to start the section or the level over again in which you are killed. Oh, come on! Oh! Dirty dogs. No! Man, I was right there. Mr. Postal and Oni's in the house. Now it's going to get a lot harder. Oh, seriously? Ah. Oh. Oh, man. Dr. Sylvester, what's going on? Oh, let's see. Mr. Postal. I am not going to even recognize that. Hold on a minute. Radio Kang's here. Oh, Cannabis is wanting to know. He ordered a package from Pennsylvania. It went to Northeast Ohio, according to the tracking, then left Pennsylvania through Ohio to Indiana. The shipping routes are kind of odd. They've streamlined the post office, not for the good of the customer. They're trying to save money because they're hemorrhaging. Actually, there's a lot of waste at the Postal Service. But customer service isn't where they should be cutting back. It should be in other places. That's all I'm going to say. But the routes in which the package can get delivered can go out of state to come back in state. Obviously, I believe CK lives in Southeast Ohio. So if it was shipped from Pennsylvania to Northeast Ohio, then the route, I think there would be a better route for coming from Northeast Ohio, which is in the Cleveland area, to come down 71 to Cincinnati by truck. However, depending on the volume of mail and how it's getting delivered, there's a major hub in Indianapolis, and we're only 2 hours from there. And so it may have got routed through Indianapolis because there might not have been enough packages coming from Cleveland to Cincinnati, which I don't know. I don't know if that's possible or not, but that's just how it goes. But it may not always do that. It may not always do that. So there's really no rhyme or reason as to when and why they do that. All right, let's try it. 69 540. Let's try to do better. That's another thing too, that this game has save key support. If you have a 2600, if you have the ROM of this game and you emulate, you can set your Stella emulator to save the high scores also. Hey, Nick Gamer's here. What's up? Yeah, I guess I'll tell a story while I'm playing, but I changed positions within the Postal Service over the years. I was in the maintenance department. And one time I was what was called, because I don't think they have them anymore, a letterbox mechanic. And a letterbox mechanic would have to maintain the blue mailboxes on the street, and in the Cincinnati area and the outlining areas, which our department was responsible for, that was a lot of mailboxes. The city alone had a bunch, and then all of the outlying areas, which can go 100 miles in any direction from where the city is, we were also responsible for it. So they decided at one point to remove quite a few mailboxes off the street, because they said they did surveys on each boxes. You know, that they would go to a box like for a certain amount of time to see how much mail it was getting, and if it wasn't getting enough mail, then to them it was a reason to remove the mailbox. But when I was a kid, they had these things called pole boxes. They would put them on telephone poles, and they were a lot smaller than a regular mailbox. And a carrier, as they were walking their route, would just stop by those pole boxes and pick up the mail, regardless of how much was in it, while they were in the neighborhood. And they had changed that, and they did what's called dedicated collection routes. They did dedicated collection routes where they, instead of having that guy do it, they would have not one person, but they have a series of people, carriers, that would be assigned these trucks, and they would go from corner to corner just emptying blue mailboxes. Well, they decided that it wasn't cost effective to do that, so instead of putting back out pole boxes for customer service purposes and to keep encouraging first-class mail volume so that people will want to use your service, they decide they're just going to take all of the mailboxes that were not up to their standard. And so what ended up happening, I can remember there were times I would be on the street removing a mailbox, and there'd be a little old lady, and this happened more than once, come to, while I was removing the mailboxes, please don't remove my mailbox. And I was like, well, I don't make the decision, but at that time, and it's been a while because I haven't been a letterbox mechanic in a number of years, but at that time, they had what's called congressional putbacks. And what I told her to do was contact her congressperson and let he or she know that you didn't want your mailbox taken off the street. And every so often, an older person would do that. They would contact their congressperson and complain. And the very next, it was so, the Congress people have so much pull that the very next day, I would have to put the mailbox back on the street. True, very true story. The reason why these older people need mailboxes, first of all, you know, like, I was instructed to tell the customer when they came to ask why I was removing the mailbox to let them know that if they had a letter, that all they had to do was put it in their mailbox, and the carrier would pick it up as they deliver. Well, the problem with that is that the mail's not secure in your mailbox. If you put it in a blue mailbox, it's a secure, it's very difficult to break into those. And so your letters and your postage and your packages, which you could mail certain size packages even within a blue mailbox, were secure inside that box. And I had a hard time trying to convince people to do it because of security reasons, and I don't blame them. I did not blame them at all. You know, I was in retail before I started the Postal Service, and oh crap. And I was very active in the union. I was the maintenance craft director for a number of years, and also an active steward for a lot of years. And you can't talk to management about anything. They do not listen to the employees, or half the time their customers. They really just don't. You know, and I don't understand that, because when I went to college and when I worked in retail, I realized and learned that the last place that you want to cut back is in customer service. And so, but the Postal Service, they didn't understand that concept, and I would actually talk to local managers about this, but they would always claim that it was the higher ups, the higher pencil pushers that aren't on the street making the decisions on how things should go at the Postal Service. And I halfway believe them, because that's kind of the way the place is run. The supervisors in the lower levels are just yes men. That's all they are. They're not allowed to make decisions, and it's horrible. And when I retired at 56 and a half, which was when I was eligible. I didn't think I was going to be able to financially, but after crunching the numbers, I realized I was making the same amount staying at home, so I just stayed home. I retired and decided to start a gaming channel. But, hold on, let me get to this. Oh, I was right there! Tried to pull back and I didn't pull back. The last place you want to cut cost in any kind of business is in customer service, especially if you're a service-oriented business like the Postal Service. That's what it's called, a service. Are you cutting back the service? Are you kidding me? No! Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat again. I was rambling on. Spider Boy Games. Getting through the building stage and getting the bomb at the end that you have to destroy. Those are the hardest things in the game. But as I mentioned, as you're going through the building, you wanna be as far forward as you can be, and then as soon as you clear the ledge, pull back in whatever direction you need to go. So if you need to go up, pull back and pull up at the same time. And then once you get through that part, move forward again as far as you can and repeat in whatever direction you need to go. Let's see. Yeah, the Canadian postal workers are on strike right now. Now, in America, it's illegal for a postal worker to be on strike. We were union, but we were not allowed to strike. Reason is back in when Nixon was president, they did. Their pay was horrible. It wasn't a living wage at all. And they were working these people to death. And like I said, the way they treated their employees, and they just kind of had enough, and they went on strike, and it shut the country down at that time because, you know, we didn't have email, the internet, anything like that. So people's access to the outside world for like magazines, to pay your bills, and to receive your packages, were all done by the Postal Service. I started in 1988, and when I did, there was so much mail that you would walk down the aisles and literally trip over it. There was so much mail. They were putting it in the aisleways. And when I retired, the place was a ghost town. The Cincinnati Main Postal Service on Dalton Avenue was a ghost town compared to what it was back in the day when I started as a clerk. Nixon, he ordered everybody back to work by executive order, and said by executive order that Postal Service workers could not strike anymore because it had shut down the country so bad back in those days. It still would, but not to the extent as it did back then. It's, you know, so whenever we negotiated our union contracts, when we went to the table, that's what we said. Hey, listen, we're not allowed to strike. We would strike, but we can't. So you have to take that into consideration. And so that was a bargaining chip that we had during contract negotiations. This score is not good. I think my high score is in that 70 or 80,000 range. Let's see. The Audacity's here. What's up? Yeah, Phil hits 5,000 subs. Right. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not even halfway there yet. But if you subscribe, it'll help. Help me get there. All right, let's go. Let's unpause. This is my last ship until I hit 50,000. That's it. I died already. See, I can't talk and chew gum, guys. You know that. All right, let's go. Let's start again. Pat's K88. Man, I loved Scramble back in, it came out in 1981. And we have a amusement park near my house. I live in the Cincinnati area. It's called Kings Island. They actually shot an episode of the Brady Bunch around the time that it opened, which is kind of a big deal for us here in Cincinnati. But anyway, they had an arcade in there, and Scramble was in the arcade, and that was my first experience with the game. And I've loved it ever since. The colors of the arcade version are great. And John Champeau of Champ Games has tried to replicate this You see how the ground changes color and whatnot? That's indicative of the original version. So, the Postal Service is divided up by what's called crafts. So there's the clerk craft, the carrier craft, the maintenance craft, truck driver craft, and so on. And the carriers, they have a separate union, but they're still under the same restraint as far as striking goes as all postal workers. And so their contracts are separate and apart from that of the clerks. Now the truck drivers are in the same craft as maintenance, and the clerks, they're in the same union. Just divided up as far as representation. You know, you don't want a truck driver representing you in a grievance procedure because he doesn't know anything about maintenance, and the maintenance people may not know anything about the clerk craft, and so on. So they're divided up that way for that reason, as far as representation in your union stewards. And one of the hardest things that I had to tell people as a union steward was when they were wrong. Most postal employees are good, hard-working people, but there are a few that slip through the cracks, and they do what they can to skirt the system on purpose. You know, and my thing was, you know, I literally had people come to me and ask for a union steward. When I would ask them what's going on, they'd say, my supervisor told me to do this. I'm like, it's in your job description, get to work. It's those people that give the union a bad rap. I start on novice, but as I mentioned at the beginning, if you guys are just tuning in, I start there because it ramps up. It changes levels after every round. So it goes to it goes to the higher difficulty anyway. So especially if you're learning how to play this game, I do suggest you start in novice. That's how I play the game. I feel like I'm halfway decent at it, and I still start in novice, and because it ramps up. Now the ships are closer together than they were last round. I detected a little stutter in the game there. No! Ow! I had a funny story. Union stewards are much like lawyers. They're representing you if you're being disciplined or if you're charged with something, let's say. And they're tasked with finding ways. That's their job, is to try to see if management did something wrong in the discipline process. If they did, then even though the employee might have messed up and done something wrong, you could get them out of whatever discipline that they had, because management has to dot their I's and cross their T's according to the contract. Well, I had, the member had a right to be at the grievance, but we were trained to discourage that. And the reason is because the more people were in there, if they don't know how to shut up. Let your lawyer do the talking. You have the right to remain silent. And but I had this one I had this one lady. She was a custodian, right? Uh-oh. Oh! And it had snowed, and she had a snowblower, and she decided that after it got stuck with some really wet snow, if you know anything about snowblowers, it got stuck. She thought it would be a good idea to stick her hand in it while it was still running, and she got injured. And she got written up for what's called committing an unsafe act. An unsafe act. So, common sense tells you don't put your hand in a running snowblower. Or, you know, if the motor's running, it was the blades were stuck, but she was trying to unstick the blade with her hand. And what do you think's going to happen when you unstick it? The blades are going to start turning real fast again, right? But, so I went to her and I started asking her. I said, well, were you properly trained on this? How were you trained on this piece of equipment? And she said, I wasn't. They just bought one and told me to start using it. And I said, well, I'm going to go under the premise that you weren't properly trained. Because they're supposed to train their employees on the equipment that they use, right? So, I told her I was going to go in to the manager and talk to the manager about the grievance, and she says, I want to go in there with you. I said, her name was Judy. I said, Judy? I said, no. I said, she was a nutbag anyway. And I told her, I said, Judy, I said, I don't want you there. I said, it just makes things a little difficult. I said, just let me do the talking for you. No, I want to be there. And they have a right to be there during that procedure, right? But so I told her, I said, okay. Oh, here's the deal. No! I said, here's the deal. I said, if you go in there, you shut your mouth. I don't want you saying anything. Let me do the talking for you. You do not say a word. Do you understand? Oh yeah, I won't. So I get in there, and I'm talking to the manager. His name was Mark. And I said, Mark! Oh, I almost died there. I said, you have to throw out this discipline because you didn't properly train her. You didn't do your job. And he says, and I knew Mark, and he said, Phil, he said, listen, she knew not to stick her hand in a runny snowblower. And my response was going to be, but you didn't teach her that. And you're supposed to train her on this equipment. She's never run one before. But before I could say anything, after he said, well, she knew better, she says, oh yeah, I knew I wasn't supposed to stick my hand in there. I said, well, there goes my argument. My argument was that you weren't trained, so you didn't know. So what'd you do? You told the manager you knew, you idiot. So instead of getting the discipline thrown off out of her record, I'm gonna die. Instead of it getting thrown out of her record, I had to beg for mercy of the court, so to speak, and say, okay, Mark, because a discipline stayed in your file for like 2 years. I'm like, okay. I said, Mark, I said, let's talk about this. I said, I can't get her out of it now. I said, but can you at least knock it off out of her record in a sooner amount of time? So I was able to get her discipline thrown out, not thrown out, but taken out of her file. No! Taken out of her file in 6 months. But that's the kind of thing that I had to contend with. No, you don't. Yes! Cheating dogs. All right. I've had a lot of fun reminiscing about the Postal Service. But what I was going to say, if you see your carrier or anybody else at work, like when you go to the window, thank them. Thank them, because they put up with a lot of stuff you guys don't see. Management is horrible. They are horrible. And they're not going to fix from within. They're not going to self-police. So it doesn't look like things are going to change from that aspect anytime soon. So thank your carrier, especially this time of year. It is very, very busy. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of packages. Like I said, they can't strike like the Canadian postal workers. They cannot strike. It's against the law. So, you know, they put up with a lot of stuff. So I don't know how we got started on that. I think it was CK's fault because he was asking a question about the postal service. So, but anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite games for the 2600. That's not my top score, I don't think. I think I've gotten into the 80,000 range or 90,000 range, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember, but anyway. All right, guys, you have an awesome weekend. We'll see you next time on Retro Bliss Gaming. Bye-bye.